What's up everyone, welcome back again to your Heroclix headquarters. So today we're going to look at some more previews, this time coming to us from figures.com. So of course try to post some links in the description for you and check it out there and help support them as well. Without further ado, let's check it out because there's a lot of figures to go through. So starting us off, we have Magneto. And he is an uncommon, and this one looks great. He's only 40 points, and he starts out with this trait. At the beginning of the game, you may replace up to 5 friendly characters with the same number of characters from your sideline on their starting clicks. All replacement and replaced characters must have the Brotherhood of Mutants, Acolytes, or Hellfire Club keywords and different names. The total points of the replacement characters can't exceed the total points of the replaced characters. Now, this is almost identical to the traits that we saw in Fantastic Four with the forming the new Fantastic Four. All the Sue Storms had that trait in that set. So this time, instead of just replacing up to 4 Fantastic Four characters, we can replace up to 5 either Acolytes, Brotherhood of Mutants, or Hellfire Club characters. So that's nuts. There's a lot of potential there for just so many different characters. It's pretty crazy. So that just really gives your team a lot of customizability depending on, what you might be going against. Maybe you have like a really range-based team and they have a lot of counters for that, or like a lot of stealth you can't see through or something. You could switch to a more close combat team. That's just basic stuff. It gets, it could get pretty crazy from there. Then he also has a really awesome special defense power, barrier, energy shield deflection. Friendly characters with a shared keyword within range and line of fire can use energy shield deflection. Now, I love characters that just hand out energy shield deflection. They're one of my favorites because I think energy shield deflection is a great power to have, of course. +2 defense against range attacks always helps. And to just hand that out to everything. A lot of times there's characters that give that to everything adjacent to them. But to give that to everybody that's within his range and line of fire, he's got 6 range. That's pretty good. That's just insane. Give everyone that shares a keyword with him energy shield deflection within 6 squares in line of fire. That's nuts. Now, he's got 6 range with double targets, some flight, sidestep, telekinesis, that awesome defense power. Don't forget there's barrier as part of that defense power too. He can get some barrier going. And leadership as well with 11 attack, 3 damage. So not only is he doing so much to help out the team with telekinesis, barrier, and leadership, and giving everyone energy shield deflection, and potentially changing out your entire team on the fly. He's only 40 points. He can actually attack things with solid attack and defense and damage values. And yeah, he's also got the Brotherhood of Mutants team ability, as if that wasn't enough, and he's only 40 points. This dude could have been a super rare, and I would have totally understood and been okay with that, but he is only an uncommon. Already one of my favorite uncommons from the whole set. I'll just say that much right now. So he's great. Going to our next figure, though, we have Corsair, and he has the Starjammer's Pirate Soldier keywords, and he's got the salvage trait that we took a look at a long time ago. So the salvage trait is free if Corsair occupies or is adjacent to hindering terrain. Roll a d6 and place it on this card, max 1. If Corsair has a die on this card, he modifies by +1 the listed combat values, matching the number on the die. When he makes an attack after resolutions, remove the die. So on a 3 or 4, he gets +1 to attack. On a 5, he gets +1 to damage. On a 6, he gets +1 to attack and damage. Pretty sure if you roll a 1 or a 2, you don't get anything. You have to attack to get rid of the die, and then just try to roll for it again. Now, he's 45 points. He's got sidestep, 10 attack, 3 damage, some energy explosion, and outwit, and a 17 defense with toughness, 5 clicks of health, 6 range. I mean, he's not bad for 45 points, but compared to that Magneto we just looked at for 5 points less than this guy, I'm really not impressed at all. He seems very basic to me. Sidestep, energy explosion, 10 attack, 3 damage, some outwit. The salvage thing could be good. You could potentially get an 11 attack, 4 damage, but I mean, the other Corsair from the House of X set was probably better in my opinion, especially with his team-up cards. So not really too excited about this Corsair. But next up we have Kid Gladiator. He's got Imperial Guard, Jean Grey School for higher learning, Shi'ar, X-Men, and Cosmic keywords. My confidence is my strength. When Kid Gladiator hits, after resolutions, give him a confidence token. When Kid Gladiator takes damage from an attack, remove a confidence token. Kid Gladiator modifies his combat values by +1 for each confident token he has. protected pulse wave. So he's pretty good. You know, that's really the only trait he has. No specials. But 6 range, flight, running shot, 11 attack, 3 damage with penetrating blast, 18 defense with impervious. He's got impervious his whole dial, which is pretty awesome. His combat values start out pretty decent, and then they get less decent as they go on, which I assume is to counteract the fact that if he gets a couple hits to start with, if you don't manage to take him out pretty quick, he's gonna get to like +2, +3 stats out of nowhere, and then he's gonna be really, really hard to deal with. For 75 points, as is, that dial's not bad for 75 points, especially considering he could get up to like 13 attack, 5 damage penetrating blasts after just hitting 2 people with a 20 defense. So that'd be pretty insane to deal with, but as soon as you hit him, he really goes down hard, because then he has to remove his confidence tokens, and you know, once he takes a good hit, mid to late dial, his stats don't really hold up, so you really just gotta hope you keep hitting with this guy and don't get hit in return. And if you can manage that, he's really, really good. But if you can't, then he's definitely not very good. But I do really like the confidence token mechanic. I think that brings a lot to the character. But next we have a look at the Prime Omega Red. We just took a look at the regular version of Omega Red in the last video, so here's a Prime one. He gets Weapon X, X-Force, X-Men, Assassin, and Soldier keywords. He's got a trait that gives him Giant Reach 3 and Flurry. That's awesome. And when Omega Red hits, all hit characters modify attack and damage by -1 until your next turn. So -1 attack and damage every time he hits is pretty great. He has Flurry. So yeah, I'm pretty sure if you actually flurried with this guy and hit somebody twice, they'd get a -2 to attack and damage, which would be pretty awesome. But anyway, then he starts out with Charge, Sidestep, and Plasticity on his movement power there, with Blades, Claws, Fangs, Toughness, 11 attack, 3 damage. And then later on he gets a Stop Click with Combat Reflexes, and he's got some Steel Energy. Steel Energy with a 12 attack, with a Stop Click, and Prob, with Traded Flurry, Giant Reach 3, and Sidestep. So if you don't finish this guy off as soon as he hits that Stop Click, he can definitely Sidestep and Giant Reach Flurry you, and probably hit with both attacks with a 12 attack and Prob Control, and Steel Energy back a couple clicks of health. And yeah, that's pretty crazy. So you gotta make sure to definitely finish this guy off if you see that Stop Click, or else he'll just heal right back up. Yeah, I think he's a really solid figure. Nothing too crazy, but for 60 points, he's really good close combat attacker for sure. Now moving on, next we have another rare figure, Warstar, Imperial Guard, Shi'ar, Armor, Robot, and Soldier. Keywords: improved targeting, can make ranged attacks while adjacent, though he has a 0 range. But he has something in his trait here. Free, once per game, generate the Beni Bystander. If Beni is KO'd by an opposing attack this game, Warstar has free. Make a range attack with a range value of 6. So basically, once that Beni is KO'd by an opposing attack, then he gets range and the ability to make a free range attack. So that's really awesome. And he can make that range attack while adjacent, which is good because he's a very close combat oriented figure. He has a special defense power in the middle of his dial that gives him combat reflexes and invulnerability, and a special on his damage that gives him probability control, but only to target himself or Beni. And the Beni Bystander has 6 range with Sidestep, 10 attack, Incapacitate, 17 defense with Super Senses, and 1 damage with Empower, it looks like there. And he's tiny size, so really I would just carry around that Bystander for the Empower, for Warstar, and then, you know, if somebody tries to energy explosion you or quake you or something, they're going to kill him off, and then he's going to be able to make free range attacks. So that's awesome. 12 movement with Charge to start is pretty great. 11 attack with Quake, 18 impervious, and 3 damage with that Prob Control special. 75 points, again, lots of 75 point characters, I feel like. Yeah, pretty good, you know, solid close combat attacker, nothing too crazy there. Now we have some super rares and another chase to take a look at. Starting us off with these super rares, we have Deathbird. She has the Horseman, Shi'ar, Ruler, and Warrior keywords. She has a trait, Empress of the Shi'ar, Mastermind, but may choose a friendly character with the Shi'ar keyword within 4 squares, must still be less points or share a keyword. Now it does say with the Shi'ar keyword within 4 squares, so as long as she doesn't get hit with something that makes her lose all of her keywords, that they're always going to share a keyword since she's Shi'ar as well. Friendly characters with the Shi'ar keyword, consider Shi'ar flag light objects within 4 squares of themselves as adjacent. Now, we've already taken a look at the Emperor Vulcan first look video, and he said that all of the Shi'ar flag objects that they are adjacent to give them +1 attack, or that if they occupy the square as well. So she counts them as being within 4 squares as adjacent, so that gives you a lot more range to kind of move around those Shi'ar flags that your Shi'ar soldiers are going to be generating. So I think Shi'ar teams are going to be pretty cool. You're going to have lots of soldiers to just pop out these flags, and it seems like there's going to be lots of characters that give you some type of added bonus to being adjacent or even just around the flags if you have her within 4 squares of them. So that's really cool. And then she has a special attack power that gives her free choose 1 effect for Deathbird to use until your next turn, Blades, Claws, Fangs, and Giant Reach 3, or Energy Explosion, or Poison. So those are 3 pretty good options to have. Now she starts off for 75 or 50 points. She has Running Shot, that special attack power, Combat Reflexes, and Leadership. And basically for 75 points you get 2 more clicks of life and +1 to all of your combat values over the 50-point version. So that really just depends. You know, you want her to be a little bit better of an attacker, have a little bit more life to her, pay the 75. If you're really just playing her to, you know, get the bonuses to being within 4 squares of the Shi'ar flag, and then, you know, just play her at the 50 points. Yeah, I mean, she's pretty solid for either point line for what she does. You know, she does it pretty well. Starting with Running Shot, I would probably pick Energy Explosion most of the time, and once she gets to that charge clicks, then, you know, probably pick Blades, Claws, Giant Reach. Now, if somebody comes up on her, I would pick Poison, obviously, unless they had a damage reducer. I mean, you know, just go with what you need. There's 3 pretty good options there. So moving on next, we have Emma Frost, and this figure looks really cool. She has the Hellfire Club, Hellions, Marauders, Quiet Council, Utopia, X-Men, and Politician keywords. She has the Rally Die mechanic, so opposing attack rolls of a 5. Again, we've seen the same on every single one of them. I'm starting to think that's going to be just how it is this set. They're all going to be opposing attacks of a 5 with a 5 in them. Anyway, so her effect is when Emma Frost uses Mind Control, you may replace a die in the attack roll with her Rally Die. That's really good. She's got Mind Control for almost her whole dial, it looks like. So being able to replace one of the dies with a 5 is going to be pretty helpful to hit with your Mind Control. Then she has a trait free, choose an improved targeting to use until your next turn. Improved targeting for elevation, improved targeting for hindering, improved targeting for blocking. It looks like, I think one is destroys blocking and one is to just see through blocking altogether. It's kind of hard to tell, honestly. They have like different symbols in them now, so I have to kind of relearn that a little bit. Then it looks like she has improved targeting for, can make range attacks while adjacent, and improved targeting to see through characters. And you may choose an additional improved targeting for each action token on Emma Frost. That's pretty interesting. So you could potentially get 3 different improved targeting abilities. You know, hindering, elevation, and blocking would be 3 great ones, or characters. You know, if you got a bunch of characters in between you. Yeah, that's really cool. But then she has a stop click with Impervious. That's just her very last click. Now she's 125 or 75 points. Very high pointed figure, but no move and attack is really the only downside I see to her. She has a 12 attack with 8 range, triple target, and she's got Mind Control and Penetrating Blast and Prob Control with a 4 damage. So there's a lot of really cool things she can do there. Between picking that and whatever improved targeting ability you need, and then having 8 range, triple target, 12 attack with Prob, you can either hit them for 4 damage with Penetrating Blast, or you can Mind Control 3 characters at once. You know, lots of potential there. And then she's got Super Senses her whole dial. Now, if you play her for 75 points, she's going to have Incapacitate and Outwit instead of the Penetrating Blast and Prob Control. So she's definitely more towards using Mind Control for the 75-point line. And I mean, you could triple target Incapacitate them too. Incapacitate's not really as good of a power anymore. I don't know. She's really good at both point values. She does 2 kind of different things. For 125, she's going to be really dealing damage with that Penetrating Blast. For 75, she's going to be really kind of controlling your opponent's team with Incapacitate and Mind Control. I really like that stop click with Charge and Impervious, you know, for the diamond form is really cool. So yeah, all in all, just a really fun looking Emma Frost figure. If you can give her some type of running shot somehow, there's a few different ways you could probably do that, then she could be pretty deadly, I think. But as is, she's more of a fun figure, I think. Last but not least, we have a chase figure here, and that is Hound, which is, I believe, a combination of Magic and Sabretooth with the Warp World, Weapon X, Assassin, and Mystical keywords. Starts with a trait that gives them Steel Energy, but may use it with close or range attacks. That's really great. Traded Steel Energy for close or range attacks. I mean, that's super helpful. And then another trait, Contingency Clause. When an opposing character would be dealt damage from Hellhound's Mystics team ability, instead roll a d6 and deal that character penetrating damage equal to half the result. So that's really cool. Obviously, Mystics team ability does 1 penetrating damage whenever they get hit with an attack. So you have the potential to deal 2 or even 3 penetrating damage from being hit with an attack. That's really, really good. Now, with Charge, with an 11 movement, 12 attack, Blades, Claws, Fangs, 3 damage with Exploit Weakness, 18 defense with Toughness, and 7 clicks of life is pretty good. You get some combat reflexes there at the end. It goes into some Plasticity, Poison, and Outwit there at the end as well. And in mid-dial with the Flurry and the Prob Control is really cool. I like that mid-dial Flurry. So with the traded Steel Energy, you know, you could heal up a couple of clicks there pretty quickly. Yeah, pretty cool stuff. Though I will say that 90 points almost feels a little bit overpriced with some of the craziness that some of these other like 75-point chases could do. 90 points is a lot, but I wish there was a stop click. I think is really what I want to see is a stop click. But yeah, if you can do a good job of rolling high enough for those Mystics Contingency Clause rolls, you could do a lot of damage just for getting hit. And if you get lucky and you manage to steal energy a few clicks back before they hit you again, you know, they might end up killing themselves before they get through this figure. It's pretty cool. All right, so that's going to be it for the Figures.com previews, but there's some more previews from ClixNexus.com. So again, make sure you go to ClixNexus and check those previews out there. But we will check out these figures here really quickly as well. So, first of all, we have Impulse. He is a common figure. Imperial Guard, Shi'ar, and Soldier keywords. Containment Suit Ruptured is his special defense power there. Gives him energy, shield deflection, and toughness. And when Impulse takes damage from an attack, after resolutions, deal an adjacent opposing character 1 penetrating damage. Very interesting there. So if he gets hit, you can deal an adjacent opposing character penetrating damage. It's kind of like Mystics, but it just hits somebody that's adjacent to him, not the person that actually shot him necessarily or hit him necessarily. For 40 points, not a bad dial at all. 6 range, double target, 8 movement with running shot and flight, 11 attack with penetrating blast, 17 defense with that toughness and energy shield special, and a 3 damage. And then he goes into some sidestep with energy explosion. You can't really ask for a whole lot for 40 points, and I think he's a pretty decent secondary attacker type figure for cheap. So yeah, he's pretty good. Now next they had actually previewed Magneto, but we just saw him from Figures.com, so we'll skip over him for now and jump into Gladiator. He's a super rare with the Annihilators, Imperial Guard, Shi'ar, Cosmic, and Soldier keywords. He has improved movement, destroys blocking terrain. That's always fun to see. I just love running through blocking terrain. It's always super fun. He has a trait, I grow stronger as you get weaker. Gladiator starts the game on click number 4. Steal energy, but with close or ranged attacks. When Gladiator uses Steal Energy, he may heal past his starting line. So he's got a classic vampire type dial. He starts on a lower click and can heal past his starting line to a much better stats and powers on a higher click. He gets a special movement power after he heals, which gives him Flurry and Charge, but do not have Speed, which is pretty insane. Then he gets a special damage power, which gives him Leadership and Close Combat Expert. Gotta love that. So I actually really like the design of this figure. He's Team Cosmic Energy team ability as well. Team Cosmic. Cosmic Energy team abilities. So, you know, he's gonna be Protected Outwit, and he's gonna have that willpower to roll for every turn. Running Shot, Penetrating Blast with an 11 attack, 3 damage, 18 defense there with Impervious. So the really cool thing is because he's got Steal Energy for close or range attacks, you can actually just running shot in, hit him with that penetrating blast, heal a click, then you can charge in with that close combat expert special, on his damage, and you know, he's got full movement charge with flurry, so you could charge more than his range. So if you just shot somebody, you can probably charge on somebody as well. And then the fact that he's going to be able to probably hit with flurry because he'll have a 12 attack, 4 damage with the close combat expert means that he'll heal straight up to his top dial with a 13 movement with charge flurry, you know, not having the speed for that charge either. That's just 13 squares. 12 attack with penetrating blast if you wanted to still shoot stuff. 20 defense with impervious, and 5 damage with prob control. I mean, that's just insane. Yeah, that's pretty nuts. For only 90 points too. Now, I mean, obviously you gotta be careful if he gets shot before you get a chance to heal up to that top dial. He's not going to be nearly as impressive, but I think with the improved movement for blocking terrain, there's a lot of potential to hide him behind some walls, behind some, you know, just blocking terrain. If you're in an indoor map with lots of walls and blocking, you definitely could hide him and then just running shot through the walls, penetrating blast somebody, and hopefully if you do that at the right spot, then he won't just get murdered right after that. If you can then charge flurry, heal up those last 2 clicks. If your opponent hasn't managed to hit Gladiator by the time he, you know, manages to heal up to that top click, after he's put out that much damage and, you know, healed up to 20 defense with impervious and prob and power cosmic energies, whatever, so he's gonna be really hard to deal with at that point. You know, if they haven't managed to hit him before he gets to that point, it's going to be that much harder to hit with him because you got to think he's already been putting out 15 clicks of damage at least. So yeah, probably killed a couple things, and he's going to be really hard to deal with at that point. So I think he's really cool. I think he's got a lot of potential, and he's really freaking cool. So moving on, next we have another chase, and that's Firebelly. I'm pretty sure this is just Toad and Pyro fused into one. So he's got the Brotherhood of Mutants, Warp World, and Animal keywords. He's got improved movement for elevated and characters. Nimble and dangerous. When Firebelly is given a move action and moves 5 squares or less after resolutions, he may make a range attack. Free, place Firebelly in an adjacent square. That's really cool. So whenever he moves 5 or less, he can make a range attack. He's got 10 movement with sidestep to start with. So he kind of has, in a sense, he has traded running shot. Only real difference there is that it's a regular range attack. It's not a range action. But nowadays, you can trigger so many things off a regular range attack that kind of doesn't even matter. And then place him in an adjacent square. Plus he has sidestep. So he can sidestep 2 squares. You can place him in an adjacent square, and then he can move 5 squares. And then he can make a range attack. So that's... what, 8 squares he can move, and then 4 squares he can shoot. That's 12 reach. That's not amazing, actually, but the fact that you could actually move 5, shoot for 4, and then sidestep and place him in an adjacent square, it's almost like a mini hypersonic, if you try to think of it that way. But yeah, energy explosion and poison on his special attack power, and he deals penetrating damage. So that's with anything. That's with his energy explosion, that's with his poison, that's with his regular range attack that he can make for moving 5 squares. Now he only does 2 damage with an 11 attack, so he's not going to be like just vaporizing anything with 1 attack. But you know, he seems, for 50 points, you know, he just kind of seems like a good little harasser type of figure, I'd say. With the improved movement, lots of free moving capabilities. Some cool penetrating damage tricks there for, you know, for any attack, for poison, for the energy explosion. That's pretty nice. Then he gets regular poison in the mid dial, and then he gets some plasticity and combat reflexes. Yeah, 50 points, you know, nothing crazy. Again, I would say all these chases have that in common. They just seem like really solid characters, really fun characters. Nothing that I've seen yet that would make me think they're going to be shaking up the meta and you're going to need to get all of them. Nothing like the Wonder Woman set where like the whole Secret Six, like at least half of them basically make like one of the most meta teams ever. Yeah, I think that's probably good. You know, you don't really want to chase down all these chases and pay like $200 a piece to fill out some meta team. So I'm fine with that. I'd like to just collect them for a fun Warp World theme myself. I like Warp World as just a theme. I really can't wait for the Avengers Warp Worlds with like Iron Hammer and Soldier Supreme and Ghost Panther and Arachnite and all those. I can't wait for those Warp World figures specifically. I don't know if we're going to see them in Empire or not. I hope so. Maybe not, though. Maybe another Avengers set down the line. But anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Let me know what you guys think about this set all together, and all your thoughts and opinions on that. I'd like to talk with you guys about that in the comments down below. So let's talk about it. And if you guys enjoyed watching this video, make sure you smash that like button for me. I am trying to get these out as quick as possible. I'm also trying to catch up on some older videos I need to get pushed out as well. So lots of videos I'm trying to get out at the same time. Anyway, if you guys want to make sure you catch all of that stuff and more, make sure you click that subscribe button so you don't miss any videos. And if you guys would like to help support the channel out a little bit more, check out the links in the description for our Patreon. You can see your name here in the credits, as long as some other cool stuff, so make sure you check that out. And yeah, that's going to do it for this episode. Thanks again so much for watching, and until next time, it's been Heroclix Headquarters, signing off.